So we're here with Reverend Matt Overton, and Matt has given us a delightful presentation on social enterprise and how that looks with youth ministry. Matt, thank you so much for being here. We're so glad to have you. I have a
Glad to be
question.
back.
Oh, good. I have a question for you. So let's say I'm a minister or a youth worker in a church. I'm on board with the idea of social enterprise as a viable youth ministry model, but most of my church has never seen this before and might still be in the fun and games mindset for youth ministry. How would I even start having this conversation? What would be my first steps in bringing this to my ministry context?
Yeah, I mean, I think there'd be a few things that you'd probably want to do. I think the first thing would be is I think stay patient. I think it's like kind of a just a main part of good leadership is to lead at a pace that your people can handle, because no congregation or human being really likes being somebody else's experiment. And so I've kind of learned in pastoral ministry that as innovative as I want to be, I have to just walk at a pace with them. So I think you've got to stay patient. I think you've also got to kind of pay attention to the culture of your organization and think about, just assess and test just how open or closed it is to experimentation. The other thing I've learned in churches over the years is like learning is so important. So to have people come along with you, you have to be able to start a conversation about not just where you want to go, but where things are. And so for me, it's been often shocking when I've come into churches to figure out and maybe to remember that they aren't thinking about this all day long. And so part of what you have to do is help them kind of take the pulse of or survey the landscape around them. Like when I got to my last church, the church that I'm at now, before we ever started innovating, it was helping them understand that there were things that they assumed were working about youth ministry that I had to kind of walk patiently with them until they were like, you know what, you're right, that doesn't really work anymore. So making sure they're up to speed on the conversation that's going on, maybe nationally around them. You can usually do that with a book. If you can read a book together or do something like that and have some loose conversation around it. So there's kind of you're educating them and getting them up to speed on what's going on. And then I think a key one is, are you doing the things that they expect you to do right so that you can build trust? Because part of them willingness to go along with the experiment is they've got to trust you first. And so I think it's really important to kind of cultivate that trust by doing initially, maybe it's for the first year, maybe it's a couple years, the things that they expect kind of the right way as you're having that disruptive conversation about maybe what needs to change. I think are keys. And then always, you want a team around you. There should be a core team. I don't know if you have a youth team at your church or a leadership team. You want to gather some people around you so that they're so up to speed on your thinking and influencing your thinking too, that it feels like an us conversation instead of a you conversation. Those would be the things that I would do. And try experiments. Doesn't necessarily have to be something really innovative or social enterprise based. To build a culture of change in your church or any organization or team, you've got to take them along on a few small things first, kind of tasters, and then they might be willing to innovate. Once they've got the idea that youth ministry is kind of some difficulties, then maybe you want to read a book on social enterprise itself or introduce them to the idea. Send them like a great intro would be like a TED talk. Go find a TED talk on social enterprise, something that's intriguing that would be an example of it to get the conversation started. Those would be the places I would start.
Sure. Thanks for that.
Yep.